predictability. The milkman, the paper boy, evening TV. Did I get delivered here? Somebody tell me please. This whole world's confusing me. Clouds as mean as you've ever seen. Ain't a bird who knows you're true. Then a little voice inside you whisper. Don't sell your dreams so soon. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a heart, I hear to hold on to. Everywhere you look, everywhere's a face. Somebody who needs you. Everywhere you look, when you're lost out there and you're all alone, life is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look, everywhere you look, right out.
What's going on, people? It's your boy, Cody Mitchner, coming at you again with another episode of BYMBS, Blow Your Mind Bible Stories, baby! Before we hop into this week's episode, y'all cool if I do a little recap of the season this far?
Yes, sir.
Because there was like a couple week writer strike, so sorry for the delay. As we embark on the final story of this second season, let's look back and see what we've covered so far. So y'all remember how God made everything, right? And everything was perfect. Perfect. That was up until humans started to mess things up. They messed things up so badly that God destroyed the world with a flood, wiping out everything except for one man and his family alongside all the animals on a big boat. Why did that beep? I didn't even say anything bad.
The beep was because my dinner's ready.
So God promised to never destroy the earth again. Instead, he was going to save them. How was God going to do this? Jesus. So y'all know I've been hinting at Jesus for quite a while, but we're many generations and a couple seasons of BYMBS away from getting to the Son of God. In the meantime, God's already planning on saving the world through his Son, but he's using the genealogy of one family. One! This family is not perfect, but they choose to follow God. And God honors their faithfulness and promises to bless them. We have Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and last but not least, your boy Joseph. Our season finale. Joseph's daddy, Jacob. Y'all remember him? He had 12 sons. Gee! My mama had 3 sons and that was a lot of work. Or I was a lot of work. I can't imagine how much that house smelled. 12 boys. Oh! Plus dad. Dads are kind of nasty too. Joseph was the second youngest, and Jacob favored him in part because he was the son of Rachel, who he loved, and because he was born after he thought he was done having kids. Joseph was the golden child, and Jacob was not shy about that. Jacob would come home from work, and all his sons would run up to greet him, and he'd run right past all the kids and hug Jacob and say, "I've missed you, my son." Growing up, Jacob's siblings always hated him because of his special treatment. His dad would do things like when he went out of town and came back, he would only bring Joseph a souvenir. No. Yo, why'd he do that? Plus, Joseph was like the teacher's pet of the family. Bruh. It was common for dad to use Joseph to spy on the other siblings and make sure they were doing their chores and on their good behavior. Snitch.
Snitch.
So you may be able to understand why Joseph's brothers were harboring a little bit of resentment against him. It felt like dad had a favorite because he did. Jacob was not bashful about it. In fact, Jacob gave Joseph a special gift. It was a colorful coat. It was silky smooth and full of many vibrant colors. I know what you're thinking. Like, really? A coat? And it wasn't even a North Face? Really? That's the big gift? And I would say, yup. Remember, God blessed Jacob financially. Jacob had money, and the best gift he could possibly buy was a custom-made coat, like the world had never seen before. He ain't buy no coat from Ross Dress for Less. Not that there's anything wrong with that. He went to the Tom Ford store. Y'all know what that is? Well, he went there and he bought his son that custom fit. It's perfect, Dad. It was hand sewn and each and every stitch was thought out. It had 8 zippers and 6 pockets. It was rainbow colored, waterproof, fireproof, windproof, bulletproof, bang bang, snowproof, iceproof, foolproof, wasp proof, bug proof, baby proof, dragon proof, squirrel proof, 100 proof. My present day comparison would be like a father shopping for a new vehicle for his son that just learned how to drive. He went to a whole bunch of used car lots. He hit up that CarMax. They got good warranties. He called the number on a for sale sign on the window of a beater car in the mall parking lot. Yup, he did. He stayed up late, Googling all the deals. I'm talking Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, bruh. He did that because that's what he did for his other sons, looking for used cars. But for Joseph, let me go to that Lambo dealership. They got Lamborghini dealerships, right? Let me get that whip that'll turn heads. Let me buy my favorite son a ride that is so sweet, it'll make you tear up every time you start the ignition. Ooh! Look, I know what you're thinking. I know, it's not a Lambo, but it is a Bentley. That's still tough. Oh, let's get rid of these. Jacob was like, let me buy that car where the vroom vroom dilates your pupils and sends blood going through your body as you go into warp speed. Alright, so picture this. His brothers were working in a field and they perked up because they felt a little rumble in the ground. They look around to see what it was, only to hear the sound of that engine roaring. This fly car comes down the driveway, and it was so loud with that engine purring, purring, like an 800-pound lion after dinner at the Golden Gazelle Corral. And the boys stopped what they were doing and ran to the house to see if the owner was a rap star or YouTuber.
Excuse me, I love your car. What do you do for a living?
What?
Like, how did you get the car?
Our dad bought it for us.
They stopped at the edge of the car as the driver began to rev that engine. It was a show. You could feel the engine in your chest. The blacked out windows made it impossible to see in, but it looks so pretty with its Technicolor chameleon paint job. The brothers were all excited to see who it was, so they huddled around. The engine cut off and the butterfly doors came open. And you know who was inside? Their little kid brother, Joseph. The excitement that the 11 brothers had quickly faded. Their pure adrenaline joy turned into confusion and then anger. They couldn't believe that this car was gifted from their dad. Oh, that it was gifted from their dad to Joseph. The same dad that bought Ruben his first car. That little gently used 2001 PT Cruiser. Brother Simon was forced to share that car with Ruben. They called it the Chrysler Clunker. Clink clink. Brother Levi had it bad too. He ain't even get a car. He was given a sketchy scooter from Wish.com. Joseph's new whip had over 700 horsepower. But Brother Judah's vehicle only had 1 horsepower because it was a literal horse. Y'all get the picture here. All the brothers compared what they received from their dad to what Joseph got. And let me tell you, they wanted to kill they bro. Yo, on top of that harbored jealousy and resentment, Joseph started having unusual dreams. One morning while at breakfast, bros, let me tell you about my dream last night. It was wild. Before they could even give a sarcastic okay, Joseph dived right into his dream. Whoop! He said that, so we were all in the field working. We were harvesting grain, and we each had our own bundle. And suddenly, my bundle of grain stood up. Because, you know, this is a dream, and bundles of grain can do that. Anyways, my bundle stood up. And then all y'all's bundles stood up too. And your bundles gathered around my bundle. And then your bundles bowed down to mine. Isn't that wild a little bit? It's kind of cool. The brothers asked him to explain his dream in literal terms. So Joseph, you're telling us that one day you're gonna be in charge of all of us, that you're gonna rule over us, and we're gonna be bowing down to you? So let's just get this straight. You're gonna like be our king? Yeah, sounds right. Confused and slightly ticked off, the next night Joseph had another dream that he wanted to tell his family about. This time his dad was around. Hey guys, I had another dream. Hey dad, I'm glad you're here. Come here, I gotta tell you about my dream. Alright guys, so this time the sun, the moon, and 11 stars all bowed down to me. Isn't that wild? Yo, you could hear the chicken chirp in the corner. Crickets chirping in the corner. The bros straight up left the table, leaving Jacob with his special son. Jacob was like, is that really your dream? To have your mother and I, along all your brothers, to bow down before you? Jacob left the room wondering, what the heck is up with this kid? I bet you he had been questioning his parenting methods right then and there. How my boy gonna tell me he gonna rule over me? Me? His father? I'm his father, and now he gonna be my boss? Nah man, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Rule over his brothers is one thing, but not me and my wife! Not in my house. No. No, he gonna learn today. I'm gonna tell you that much. I'm gonna tell you that much. Rule over me? No way, Josie. You ain't my daddy. And who's your daddy? That's right. Me. But the whole time, Jacob didn't realize that maybe Joseph was that way because of Jacob. Because of how he parented it. So I want to slow down the story right here. I want you to think about this real quick. I feel like I need to point out the fact.
What's that? Fact?
That because Jacob played favorites with his children and took favor into this one in particular, it set up all the other siblings to automatically resent Joseph. Joseph could have been a perfect angel, but because his dad liked him the best, it didn't matter. So the brothers were predestined to have beef. But Joseph was no angel by any means. He didn't even make it easy for his brothers to like him. So on top of that resentment, playing favorites enabled Joseph's bratty behavior.
On my worst behavior, no.
His dad even made him spy on his brothers and report back to him if they weren't working. The entitlement he must have felt over his brothers. Joseph grew up with his brothers not liking him, and Jacob made it much worse. Jealousy is a powerful thing, and anger too. Resentment? Yep. And the cherry on top was that stupid Lamborghini, or should I say coat. And that plus the dream, and you got a recipe for disaster. All my brothers and sisters, take note so you don't end up like Joseph. Now let's get back to the story. One day, the brothers were in the next town working, and Jacob sent his son Joseph to do some recon and make sure that his brothers were actually working. Remember, that's the enabling behavior that I'm talking about. So of course, Joseph took on the task of checking on his brothers. Joseph's brother saw him coming from a mile away with his coat all colorful, and they began to talk bad about him, whining. Ooh, here comes the dreamer! Daddy's little spy here to ruin our day! They therapeutically continued with all these insults, one after another, as Joseph approached them. Then one of them proposed that they actually kill him. Look, we could kill Joseph and then we could tell Dad that a wild animal got him. This crazy idea didn't feel so crazy to them in the moment. You know what? One brother said, that's actually not a bad idea. In fact, I'm on board. Who's with me? All of a sudden, the brothers turned into an angry mob.
That's a great idea. Let's start a riot.
Demanding justice and seeking blood.
Dory, are you okay?
Joseph had no idea what he was walking into. Then, one of the older brothers stepped in on Joseph's behalf and proposed an idea that may please everybody while also not harming their baby brother. It was Reuben. And he thought that they should just throw Joseph down this deserted well shaft instead. That way, Joseph would eventually die, but nobody would actually lay hands on him. Easy peasy. So they thought. And they all agreed that this was a better idea. Reuben proposed this idea because it would give him a chance to rescue Joseph at a later time.
I'll be back.
He didn't actually want Joseph dead, but the same was not true for the remaining brothers. So Joseph walked up to his bros, and as he opened his mouth telling them that Dad isn't gonna be happy that you're not working, they jumped him. Come here, Joseph! They tore his colorful coat right off my man's and they threw him down that well. I hate you guys. You're gonna pay for what you did to me. Just wait until Dad finds out. He's gonna disown you. All of you. We hate you, Joseph. We wish you were never our brother. We wish that you were never born. I hate you more. Dad never liked you guys anyways. I was his favorite because he sees my potential. None of you guys have the potential like I do. I'm gonna be great. How do you have any potential? You're gonna die down there and there's nothing you can do about it. How could Dad love you more than us? What does he see in you that's not in us? Are you really gonna let me die down here? I mean, you guys can't do this. I'm your brother. Hello? Not anymore. You're dead to us. Guys, please. Brothers, please, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. If you guys can still hear me, I'm so sorry for being such a bad brother. I'm such a jerk. You guys didn't deserve this. None of you did. Please forgive me. Please save me. Let's let that sink in. Joseph's brothers wanted him dead. They were prepared to kill their own flesh and blood, their own family. Years and years of jealousy and resentment overflowed in each and every brother to the point where, collectively, they all snapped. Once in the well, you can imagine Joseph pleading for his life, wishing that he could take back away all the times that he was arrogant and stuck up. He wished he could take back all the times that he got his brothers in trouble. He wished that he could tell his brothers that he was sorry. He wished that he could turn back the time and do it all over again, but he couldn't. Joseph was faced with this harsh reality of certain death in a dark and dried out well. He was alone and he was scared. And part of me wonders if this entire process was God's way of humbling Joseph. Joseph was not bashful about being dad's favorite. Let's face it, he was a brat. He had to grow up, or he was heading towards a life of no family and friends. He was heading down a path that led him straight to death. Some of us probably need to think about the paths that we're heading down. A little arrogance here, a little short-temperedness there, being a jerk here, being selfish there. Sometimes it doesn't seem like a big deal in the moment, but what is this path that you're on? We know that Joseph's path was bringing him to death, but then something happened. Remember God's promise? God remained faithful. He did not let Joseph die in the well. Something miraculous happened, but it didn't seem so miraculous at the time. Who's there? Who rescued Joseph? Did his brothers change their mind? Was it Reuben coming to save him? Or was it a random person that was walking by and could hear Joseph crying? Well, you're gonna have to tune in next week for the new episode of BYMBS to find out what's happening to Joseph. Or you could just open the Bible and read it for yourself. Until then, remember whose you are.